From deep inside we yearn for you. Oh God, we call. Oh God, we call. From deep inside we yearn. From deep inside we yearn. From deep inside we yearn for you. Oh God, we call. Oh God, we call. From deep inside we yearn. From deep inside we yearn. From deep inside we yearn for you.
Hello and welcome everyone to French River Lutheran Church and our second Wednesday of Lent service. We are glad to have anyone who is joining us, friends, visitors, or guests with us, and all known and unknown members of French River. Today I have myself here and leading alongside Phil. And on organ is David, and behind the camera is Rich. And so we give thanks for all of them being able to help us out so that in this time of COVID-19 we are gathered in one body wherever we are and being able to worship together. As I had said last week, we are continuing with our contemplative journey through Lent. Not only just using scriptures, but also a poetry of Mary Oliver, who is an American poet. We have been blessed with different varieties, talents, and gifts, and this is one way that we can take something that's nature-focused, as Mary Oliver often wrote, and combine it into our spiritual lives. And so today we will begin yet with another bit of gospel, and then another poem from Mary Oliver.
The Gospel according to Mark, the 8th chapter, beginning with the 27th verse. Jesus went on with his disciples to the villages of Caesarea Philippi, and on the way he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" And they answered him, "John the Baptist, and others Elijah, and still others one of the prophets." He asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter answered him, "You are the Messiah." And he sternly ordered them not to tell anyone about him. Then he began to teach them that the Son of Man must undergo great suffering and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. He said all this quite openly, and Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But turning and looking at his disciples, he rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things." He called the crowd with his disciples and said to them, "If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. For what will it profit them to gain the whole world and forfeit their life? Indeed, what can they give in return for their life? Those who are ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of them the Son of Man will also be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels."
All right, and now a poem by Mary Oliver. This one is known as In Black Water Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds, and every pond, no matter what it is, name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires of the Black River of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. So today, our text, one of the famous texts where Jesus scolds Peter, first of all, says, "Get behind me, Satan, for you have put your mind on human things and not on divine things." Then later teaches us a lesson that we must lose our life to save it. Now, Jesus obviously is not meaning this in the literal sense, not saying go and take your life because that's what's good. That's not what Jesus is saying. Just like last week, we talked about change, the need for change, of letting go. We must understand, even within this poem by Mary Oliver, it ends with the words, "Let it go." God works through loss in order to save us, in order to give us new life. We see this in the natural world around us, especially living here in Minnesota, where the 4 seasons are very prominent. Sometimes the winter season is more prominent than any other season, but we see it with the rhythms of the seasons: receiving, losing, saving and holding, and letting go. We see it with the beauty of the trees in the fall when their leaves fall to the ground. We see it in the beauty of the spring when the trees start flowing again with sap. And we see it also in the beauty of the flowers and plants and trees and animals that all return back to us in summer. The time of winter, though, is the time of rest for creation. And I think about this text. I think about a time that I was asked to speak for a youth group gathering in the Northwestern Wisconsin Synod. And they wanted us pastors to preach on this text in different ways. And I decided to use pictures from my childhood to show them how much I had changed. If I would have stayed the way that I was in 5th grade, I probably would not have grown into the human being that I have. The experiences, the loss, the embarrassing things that had happened to me over my life. And I was brave enough at that time and place to pull out those school pictures from puberty, right? Where you go from 5th grade being this cute, maybe a little chubby person, to this awkward, gangly, scary, phase for a while. Phil, you just were beautiful the whole time, weren't you, Phil? So.
To everyone's surprise.
To everyone's surprise. Phil had that beard since he was a baby. It's fine. No, but anyway, I showed a picture of myself in 3rd grade. I showed one in 5th grade, 7th grade, 9th grade. And you should have heard the audible gasp from these high schoolers, like, oh, when the 5th grade one came about and the 7th grade one. I had a perm, and
Me too.
you had a perm too?
Yeah.
Nice.
The beard was permed.
It was a weird time, the
It was
90s.
good, yeah.
Oh, and the beard?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
super.
great. I had a perm in 5th grade, and then in 7th grade, there was a noticeable growth spurt and change. The acne was there, and then 8th grade, I had braces. And so I said, we all change, whether we can feel it or not. Sometimes it happens slowly, sometimes it happens in an instant. But this is what Jesus is getting at this point, that, and also Mary Oliver, that the seasons will come and go, but we also change and flow anew in them. We are like skipping stones on Lake Superior, and I know many of us have done that. We've gone down, picked up a rock, thrown it in the water, and there are the jagged ones and the smooth ones. And most people want to take home the smooth ones, don't they? Because they're nice and they've been well weathered, but they have gone through many storms to get to that point. They have gone through many hard winter and October storm with waves crashing over each other, rocks hitting against each other, and yet there's this beauty about them. And so if I held on to my permed hair days, right, and also my, younger years, I wouldn't have experienced what God has in store for me. And that is the same with all people. And even Peter does not get that. He's trying to focus on what he knows as a human being. And Jesus is saying, you cannot focus this way. You have to let go of that thinking so that you can follow me. And so as an action or practice of mindfulness in this time and place, I'm going to ask you to let go of something that you are holding on to but doesn't give you life. For many of us, that's technology, whether it's a screen, a phone, a computer, whatever. I know you're looking at us on a computer, and that's okay. But let go of it for maybe an hour or a day, or if you can do it, a week. Oftentimes with my confirmation students, I create this little box that's the cell phone Sabbath. The phone goes in there during confirmation because you can let go for an hour and talk and be with different people that you see face to face and get to know. You can do this at your house too, at dinner time. Put the phones aside and talk to each other about your day. Eye to eye, voice to voice, heart to heart. Make other things that you need to let go of, different ideals and things that are painful, whether it's anger or hurt or disagreement or some sort of dehumanizing shame or whatever you're holding on to, whether for yourself or for others. Let it go and embrace others and different ideas, things that you can connect to more fully in order to show love and grace and mercy in this holiness. All right? And don't be ashamed of those perm pictures, okay? Those big hair, big perm pictures, even the bowl cuts. I mean, we've all been through it, right? We are meant to change. All right, amen.
Amen.
Again, I invite you to sing along with us for this Watch, O Lord hymn, which is an intercessory prayer, meaning prayers for all people.
Watch, O Lord, with all those awake this night. Watch, O Lord, with all those who weep. Give your angels and saints charge over all who sleep. Tend your ailing ones in your love, Lord. Rest your weary ones in your love, Lord. Bless your dying ones in your love, O Lord of all. Watch, O Lord, with all those awake this night. Watch, O Lord, with all those who weep. Give your angels and saints charge over charge over all who sleep. Hold your grieving ones in your love, Lord. Raise your fallen ones in your love, Lord. Mend your broken ones in your love, O Lord of all. Watch, O Lord, with all those awake this night. Watch, O Lord, with all those who weep. Give your angels and saints charge over all who sleep. Guard your little ones in your love, Lord. Guide your searching ones in your love, Lord. Grant to all of us in your love, O Lord of all. Watch, O Lord, with all those awake this night. Watch, O Lord, with all those who weep. Give your angels and saints charge over all who sleep.
Before we close today with prayer, I'd just like to invite anyone who is watching today, if you would like to give in this Lenten time and place, you may do so, and we would greatly appreciate it. Different ways to give would be in person on Sunday mornings. You can give online by mailing or at the drop box outside of the lower canopy door on the side of the church over here. Also, we'd like to invite anyone to worship with us online or in person. If you come in person, we ask you to wear masks and stay spaced out because of the pandemic. But worship is at 10 a.m. and we would love to have you come and be a part of our service in any way, shape, or form that you can. And if you would like to come back and meet us next week, we will be here again at 5 p.m. online on the French River Lutheran page for YouTube. And we will be here every Wednesday until March 17th, right before Holy Week. And so we hope you join us, and we'll see you next week. God bless and keep you safe, and amen.
Amen.
Good work, everyone.